Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can we just start the meeting? Councillor Bhatti, please, because it's 7:32 now. Yeah. Good evening and welcome to the Central Hounslow Area Forum. My name is Councillor Afzal Kiani and I'm the chair of the Central Hounslow Area Forum. I would like to welcome you all to the meeting. I hope that many of you were able to speak with some of our stallholders present today and receive some useful information and advice. As it is now just after 7:30 p.m., we will move to the formal part of the meeting where we will work through the items on published agenda. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and will be made available for viewing on Hounslow Council YouTube page in the coming days. For tonight's proceedings, I as a chair will be running the meeting and inviting people to speak. As we have a full and interesting agenda, I will endeavor to allow as many people to speak as possible. With that in mind, I would ask members of the public to wait their turn and not to interrupt people when they are talking or comment during their contribution of others. It may, of course, not be possible for everyone here to ask a question due to time constraint. There are evaluation forms available on your seat with a box at the end of the row where you can write down your comments and questions, and provide your email address, and response will be sent to you directly. Please do submit any unanswered questions and hand over to them to the community development officers. Can I ask the community officers to show their hands so then they know who are they? One here, one there at the backs. Yeah, that's Mike. So the main agenda item 1, apologies for absence.
Councillor
Danish Saeed. I've got apology for Councillor Danish Saeed. Is there anyone else? Councillor Jagdish Sharma. All right, okay. That's anything else? Anyone? No? Well, we now move to agenda item 2. We have the minutes of 18th September for approval. Can everyone go through the minutes and is there anything on the minutes? No? Agreed. Yeah. Agreed? Agreed? Okay, agreed. Okay. Agenda item 3.
Is there a second for the minutes?
No, we don't know. That's agreed is agreed, yeah. Yeah, agreed is agreed. No worries. Okay. Okay. We now come on to the agenda item 3, which is the open forum. We have received some question in advance of the meeting. We will read through those questions first and any responses that have been sent, that have been received. That's the first one. The first question was asked by Ambreen Hassan. She asked that, what are the council doing to prevent all the shop closures in the treaty center? Is now like a ghost town. The post office, W.S. Smith's unit, we were told a few years ago that all the shops on the high street quarter have been let, yet there remain many empty units and only fast food outlets. The response we received from the officers, issues with the high street retail closures are affecting the whole of the UK, with a recent House of Lords report stating that in 2023 there were over 10,000 store closures across the high streets. The council looks to support retailers where it can by maintaining the public realm, providing businesses support and working with partners to address antisocial behavior. However, it has to be recognized that commercial units are privately owned and both landlords and tenant businesses are free to negotiate tenancies independently. The council does not have the power to control what units are leased and to whom. The Treaty Center is looking to redevelop the site and as such is ending lease with some of its occupants. As a council, we want to retail offering in Hounslow Town Center to be retained for as long as possible. And this is the feedback we are providing to the owners. Legally, the owners are able to deal with the lease within their ownership as they see fit, subject to contract law. We understand the concern people have with the closure of Hounslow Town Center Post Office due to the ending of the W.H. Smith lease. We will be communicating with the Post Office to understand their plans for reprovision of or relocation of this post office and how our residents can access post office services in the meantime. We'll also be looking to central government to understand what new funding and powers will be provided to support our high street and examining the high street rental auction powers that was announced on 3rd December 2024 to understand if this is suitable to support Hounslow High Street. I think that's the response received from the officer and sent to Ambreen, who asked these questions. I've got other questions? Okay. The other question was about the minutes. The lady asked us and we sent it to them. So that's done. Do we have anything else on that? No? Okay. There was an update on the alleyway behind the ASDA, and that was provided to Councillor Preetham Grewal, because that was your initiative. Can you say on that something?
Yeah. This was initiated by the local police, Councillor Paul Todd. The police wants that alleyway shut because it's not well used and it's a lot of antisocial behavior there, a lot of drug dealing going on, and it's not safe in the evening, especially for the people to go through. So what we've done is we spoken to the people on Myrtle Road. Almost everybody is in favor of closure. Then we done the walk through both sides, through the alleyway and in front of Asda. It takes exactly the same time. So police is quite happy to close it. So we had a meeting a couple of weeks ago with the members, with the staff, officers, and they are looking into it at the moment. How can they do it? There are a number of issues like they have to speak to certain people. There are different issues there. They'll speak to those people. The process, and if they agree, then there'll be a consultation on that. We have to do a statutory consultation, and if people agreed, and then we'll find the way ahead. Before that, we have option to put CCTV camera there and pour more lights there to make them more sort of safer, see how it goes. So the process already started. We will let you know in the next meeting if there's any progress. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Preetham Grewal. Now it's time for questions from the public. So if you have any questions, please raise your hand and one of the officers will come to you, give you the mic, and then you can ask the questions.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Now I'm going to give you.
I think the mic is not working, sir.
It's on.
Yep.
Now every time that one moves, I can't see you.
Yeah, you have to talk into the top bit. It's easier to hear.
Right, I'll stand up if I can. Now I'm going to ask you, right, straight questions. I want straight answers. This concerns the Prime Minister, the Chancellor of the Exchequer and the Mayor of London. Now, I'm not getting any benefits whatsoever. I retired 7 years ago, and I'm 77, and I can't claim a thing. Because with these boat people coming over, right, all the council tax which I'm paying and which I've refused to pay anymore is going straight to them. And with the Chancellor of the Exchequer, she got the job unforcibly, right? And the Mayor of London is supposed to be getting knighted next month for sitting on his backside. Now, can you give me any answers on that?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'll answer your question. First of all, whatever you have raised, that's the central government and the benefit systems. I won't be able to answer that. But if you leave your email address, we'll try to get some answers and send it to you.
Be my name or my address. I just want the answers now.
I cannot answer that because this is out of my remit. So if you leave your name, addresses, we will send it to you.
So, but who from the committee there, right, is standing for Parliament?
No one is here at the moment, the both MPs are not here.
So, in other words,
I think I'll ask the officers, you take the notes, and, pass it on to the next person.
it's false and frivolous.
Sorry, can I just ask you, if you go and see our community solutions people, there was a stall out there, if not today, but you can go to Hounslow House and they will go through the benefit system with you and tell you why you can't get it. Community solutions, if you go and see them, they will help you. And they're the ladies there from the...
Officer is there to help you.
They turned around and said to me, "Are you black or white?" And I turned around and said, "I'm white, through and through, and I'm English." She hung up on me.
Sorry, sir. I don't believe your question is for this forum, but my colleague here will happily speak to you about it. Can you pass me the mic back? Sure. Thank you.
Young man here in the front, the second row.
Yep. I have a question regarding the Feltham High Street. So there's 3 ways into Feltham High Street, and there's roadworks in all of them. So is there any plan forward on how this is going to be resolved? And for my second question is, if you go towards Poplar Way on that roundabout and keep going straight, you can go right to Clifton Avenue. And over there's no way to turn right out of that road. So what happens is that causes a lot of delay. People have to take the roundabout all the way around. And if you just make perhaps a mini roundabout there, then it...
Excuse me, this is Hounslow Central Committee.
Yeah.
You have to go to Feltham Board Committee to talk to them about it. We are here for Hounslow Central area.
So you don't...
But the officer will take a note of you.
Okay.
Can I ask Councillor Samir to say?
Thank you so much. I think, look, I was in Feltham all day today. I understand the work is happening, but it is the betterment of the pavement and the side. And we had the flooding issue, especially on the Staines Road, next to the Esso petrol station, which I believe now open. I'm continuously using it. But with regards to your mini roundabout, you're saying, I'm happy to have a conversation with you and pass it on to one of the Feltham councillor. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a lady, you think? Because she's sitting, I can't even see, Okay.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Megan from Hounslow Youth Council, and I just wanted to ask, since Hounslow Youth Council is actually based in central Hounslow, how well do you think the council interacts with young people, and if so, what you could do to strengthen the connection? Thank you.
I don't have any, youth representative here, officer, but we'll take your question up. The officer is next to you. If you give the question, so we'll get your answer and come back to you, please. Samia, you want to take it? Okay, Samia.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think it's a very good question. If I introduce myself, I'm Councillor Samia Chadwick, Cabinet Member for Children's Education, Employment Skills. I'm happy to have conversation with you regarding the youth, what we are doing. And if I'll be really honest with you, there has been really good work happening within the council. We have been engaging with Faltamand as well as here, but I'm really happy to have one-to-one with you guys, come and visit you and see what you would like us to do and how you would like to see the improvements. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Somebody there? Oh, there's probably more.
Here, the second row.
Hello, can you hear me? Oh, okay,
Oh, yeah,
sorry.
all right.
I'm Mike. I've just noticed yet again there seems to be a communication problem. This came up at Hounslow West. We had the police there. We also had Hounslow Communications Department. And I sat there and just listened, and there was a lot of problems. There were stabbings going on in the park, and people were saying, how do we contact you if we see something, etc. What do we do? And I said, well, why don't you have a notice board, one that is up to date, which the police do have. They put one outside of the police stations and things. And they all thought it was a great idea. And the police said, yeah, we could do an electronics board. And maybe have one in Hounslow, one in Feltham, wherever, so that people would know where to contact. And things such as these roadworks, half the problem is people don't know what's going on, why they're doing it, etc., etc. So, it's good to have ideas, but it really is a waste of time if nothing is done. So my question is, as with Hounslow, what is their plan? This is what people would like to know.
Okay, I think most of the works are done, already publicized on the road and on websites as well. But what we'll take, because no one is here to answer that question, so we'll take the question, we'll put it to the right department, and they'll come back to you.
Well, nothing was done.
Just a minute. I've got Councillor Ajmer. She wants to answer that. Yeah.
I just wanted to say we appreciate all the ideas that come through. I do promise you they are put forward to the relevant departments, but then it all comes down to consultation and funding, I'm afraid, yeah? It all comes down to that, even with the police and that. But we do try it. It isn't that we sit here and listen to you and don't do anything about it. It is taken forward, but hey-ho, we do try, and things do take a long time. But I do take on board what you're saying. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to add to that, totally agree. If you want to, there was a stall outside that were talking about developments and improvements in Hounslow. You might find some of them are still there, and you can actually add on to there, because they're trying to put a new strategy together. So if you add that comment, that idea to their sheets, you'll find they will take that into consideration for the future. It's a very good idea. Thank you.
Gentleman here in the front row.
Hello, so I was just going to ask a couple of questions. One is about, I don't know if anyone would know about this, but you know the sludgy leaf litter over the floor on pavements, so I'm sure it's elsewhere, but down Hibernia Road, at the beginning of near Lord Palmerston, and along the Staines Road there, I slipped over it a couple of times walking the dogs, so it's getting a little bit sludgy where it's actually water now. So I'm just wondering, maybe the environment people need to get scrubbing those up. And then antisocial behaviour on Benson Close again. So people in the block now have gone, I've told the housing officer as well, have gone to taking the metal magnets off the doors, which give entry with the key fobs. So they've actually taken them off now, and I know which flats have done it, put that forward, but nothing has been done. But I'm sure we can work on that.
Yes, I was there in the last inspection. I was in Benson Close myself. I always go there, and I've spoken to the caretaker, so he's taking good care of that. And with regards to the leaves are scheduled, I think once it's cleaned, and they're going to be cleaned soon. But we'll take because this is my ward, so I'll take a note, and we'll check what is happening on that and come back to you on that. Yeah, please.
Just to add on to that, they have already started the program. They're doing it. I've seen them doing on Great West Road today. So there are a number of teams working on it. Possibly go on Hounslow Highway's website. They'll tell you when your road is going to be done.
Samia?
Thank you so much again, and I really appreciate your feedback regarding and on Benson Close. As you know, it got better. It got really better, but it's got worse again. I wouldn't say worse again, but there have been a couple of incidents which has been reported to myself, as well as Councillor Kiani and Farhan. We were there the other day. We have been speaking to the team, but our next ward walk, we'll be arranging it very soon in next year. And with antisocial behaviour, it's a separate piece which we will definitely be working on more. Okay? Thank you.
The lady on third row, please.
Yeah, hello. I submitted a question last week for this forum. I wanted to know why it took so long to print the minutes of the last meeting on the 18th of September. They didn't appear in print available to the public until about 2 weeks ago, 10 weeks after the meeting. Why is that? Sorry, I can't hear.
Sorry. Thank you for raising this. I think you received the response today from our officers, or no?
Not really, no. Not an adequate response. I was told that I could look at the meeting on YouTube, but to be honest, I wasn't very happy about watching 2 hours of YouTube to find out the bits I wanted. I mean, isn't it normal to make the minutes available after a meeting within a certain time frame?
Yeah.
They were only, I think, published when the agenda for this meeting came out.
We asked this question and we were provided a response. It says minutes are available with the agenda 5 days prior to the next meeting. That is the protocol.
Well, I'm afraid that I think it's inadequate for most people who attended that meeting, because there were certain things that were actioned, or, you know, for example, we talked about the bin areas in Alexandra Road. We talked about the alleyway being blocked off, shut behind Asda. There were various things about the zoning of the traffic. We haven't had any feedback from that whatsoever. And I couldn't see who spoke about it at the meeting because I didn't have access to the minutes.
Okay. You know, in response to that, if you have any question regarding the meeting and the questions, you know, you need to, we got a clerk here, so you can speak to the clerk and they will respond to you.
Yeah. Could we not have the minutes after the meeting, though, sort of within a week or so? Because I think the people who attended that meeting won't necessarily be here today.
Okay. We'll take your point and then we'll work on that.
It would be really useful.
Just say something here, because I've just checked with my colleague here, officer here, who writes the minutes, and she's saying it is not possible. So can you just explain why it's not possible?
Okay.
It's not possible to do the minutes within the week because coming out of the meeting, there'll be certain actions that have to be followed up within the minutes, and it takes some time to do that. The minutes, the minutes are published with the agenda, and the statutory requirement is 5 days prior to the meeting.
Everybody else does that as well.
This is the protocol of the meeting. So we look into it, but we won't be able to change it. So we need to look into it and see if we can, bring it earlier.
Oh, hi. I'm here as a parent carer, speaking on behalf of my daughter who goes to Great Oaks College. It's a special needs college. As you probably know, as of July 2025, we'll be losing approximately 100 students, special needs, within the borough. That college has been recited out of borough, and I'd like to know from the board how are the council going to go about retaining those 100 or so numbers. The college was in fruition for about 6 years, seemed to be very successful during that time, but I'm now worried that, speaking on behalf of some of the parents with special needs and disabilities, how is the council going to rectify that issue?
Samia, would you be able to answer that?
Thank you very much. I think you do require most probably a detailed answer. I'm happy to take your details. I know that it is a concern what you have just talked about, sending children out of borough, but I'm happy to come and take your details, and I'll be able to send you a full response on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm a volunteer with the Community Development Team, and I'm asking a question on behalf of a resident. So my question to you all is, why are people still parking on the footpaths of Staines Road? And this resident feels as if there's nothing been done about it, and has also raised this question many times at other forums as well.
Okay, I think it's a enforcement, parking enforcement matter, and maybe police matter. We can only say once it's parked, if you report it, someone will come and deal with it.
Can I just add to that? Yeah. Just to add on to that, some footpaths we allow people to park, but it's clearly marked. If it's not marked, then you can send an email to your local councillor, and they'll definitely look into that.
Hi, my name is Danny and I'm from Hounslow West. It's sad to see nowadays, Hounslow West especially, is a complete area is becoming a dump yard, literally a dump yard. And we are talking about pollution and sustainability. That place is not been cleaned. I've been watching that for last 3 years, and I agree with Mike. It's antisocial behavior, fly tipping, drugs, everything is happening there. And I don't see any improvement for last 3 years. And I don't see anyone coming around there. And we all know Hounslow West is paying highest council tax in London, one of the highest council tax. And we have been ignored literally. And it's shame to stay in a place where you're spending $500,000 with such a polluted area. So I just want to know from you guys, what is the plan for that place to keep it clean?
Okay. Thank you very much for your question. Fly tipping is a major issue within our borough anyway. But you got Hounslow two councillors here, Bandana Chopra and Umair was just here. I think he just left, They are constantly, I believe, walking in the ward and reporting everything, as I do in my ward. So I can ask to Bandana to respond to that. And if you have any specific, you can email them and they can come back to you on that.
Okay. Hi there again. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. And as the chair says, fly tipping, unfortunately, antisocial behaviour exists everywhere. In Hounslow, in other boroughs, I'm not going to name them all, throughout the country. We do our best to try and tackle it. We do walk around Hounslow West regularly, the councillors, maybe not on the same roads that you're on, and we do know a lot about where the hot spots are, and we do report them regularly. I've had that area behind, which is now Chaiwala, you know the one? Behind there, I've had that cleared several times. That is private land. That's what people don't understand, which bit is council land, which bit is private land. That is actually private land and should be dealt with by the shopkeepers, but it doesn't get dealt with. So out of goodwill, several times we've sent truckloads of, from Hounslow Highways, trucks down there to clear that. We had, not last Christmas, Christmas before, we had 10 trucks. 10 trucks, that's a lot of money from the council. And it should be dealt with by the shops and those residents that live there. But out of goodwill, and we didn't want to get in worse, and health and safety aspects and all the rest of it, so we had it cleared. But as soon as you clear it, it comes back. People don't stop. And we have actually got one of our enforcement officers here who used to be in that team. And he physically, I've seen him, I've been there, he used to physically go, look at the fly tipping and put gloves on and go through it. Because if we can get names and addresses of people that have dropped things, there might be letters they've dropped, there might be like a medicine pack with a name on it, anything. We find them. And they have been fined. I can assure you of that. We are trying our best, that's all.
Can I just interrupt you here? You got a councillor here, so if it is possible, once meeting finishes, you can speak to her or take her, you can email her, and then she can come back to you on that.
We're already in conversation.
There's one. Wait for the mic here.
Hi. On the similar issue, I will touch on antisocial behavior. Hounslow West Station, close to H91, there was so much of antisocial behavior going on. Police cleared it, and then they put it in our backyard, close to our place where we are staying. We have got children. It's difficult to go in and out of the building. Both the side, the KFC side, or just opposite the Hounslow West Station, Iceland, or the pub, they have moved from that area to our area, literally back side of our house completely, and the antisocial behavior is going on. They're urinating on the way even to go that side. It's so polluted, you cannot even smell. If you're going with your family, children, wife, they are literally urinating on the floor outside. So what is the solution for that?
We got an officer who is here to answer your question.
Hello there, good evening. My name is Zahir Kadri. I'm from the Safer Communities team. So in response to that, we have a patrolling team that regularly patrols from Chaiwala, which is it Rosemary or Manor, all the way up to the KFC, like Cambridge Road. So what they do is that they do a reassurance patrol. They also engage with the shopkeepers as well. And where there is ASB, now I know exactly where you're talking about, it's just opposite Earl Hague, where you have late night, evening street drinkers who operate. It was brought to our attention that Feli's Cafe is where they were sitting, and through our engagement already, so that was on the 29th of November, we actually spoke to the proprietor and we asked him to remove the benches. So I don't know if you've seen that recently in the last few days, the benches have been removed. and the tables and chairs are now in place. And we've also told the proprietor that he needs to take in those chairs and tables during closing hours. So when he's closed, those tables and chairs need to come indoors to make the area less attractable to those who want to sit and drink and create ASB. There are other methods of reducing antisocial behavior, for example, controlling the access, so putting a little gate there to stop people from sitting and congregating. Also having spotlights and security lights, because the last place somebody wants to sit is right in the light, yeah? Because they want to operate in the shadows and in dark areas. So we are working. What I would ask you as residents to do is log and create a diary of times and dates that you're seeing this. We can't do it by ourselves. So the council officers, we can't crack down on antisocial behavior without the help of our residents. So we need your help as well. And that means creating a diary sheet, giving us intelligence that we can then share with the safer neighborhood teams. So we all need to be working together to try and crack down on antisocial behavior. I'm here after the meeting. If you want to speak more in detail, I'm happy to take your details down.
Thank you, Zahir. I've got only 2 more questions, one right at the back, one here.
Already done. Next question, sorry.
Found it. Yes, so with the antisocial behaviour and littering, I think you did one thing once that used to go on the council's website, it's like Hounslow's Most Wanted. I found that to be useful and noticed that I recognised some people, so I'm wondering if that could be implemented again. And also, actually just on that note, between Little Tesco's up just round the corner here, on the Staines Road, and between sort of there and that new fresh greengrocers, that little inn cave is used as a human watering hole, if I can say that. And yeah, that's every night, and you can see the trail of the urine leading up to, and they all sit on that wall outside there. So I'm wondering if that could be a good place for a camera in specific, just for cleanliness more than anything, I think, as well, and make people comfortable to walk through there and sit there and do non-antisocial things.
Thank you. Zahir, can you answer that? Mike? Sorry, this was the last question, so we were going to get the answer, and then if you have any other questions, please write it down, and we'll answer that,
Okay, so there was one question that you had asked. I'm just here, yeah?
Yeah, Daniel.
So there was one question that you had asked in regards to Benson Close earlier on. So then if you know that the council has a service, it's called the Neighbourhood Wardens. So if you call them, so they operate between 7 a.m. till 11 p.m. So if you ever find that there's antisocial behaviour on the estates, you can call them and they should call you back within an hour, and then they can come and do a patrol on your estate, yeah? So also with those magnetic locks, if there is an issue with that, you can also report that through repairs and maintenance as well. I know that it's a regular occurrence. Yeah, so if you've got that kind of intelligence and you've got that information, then you can share it with the neighbourhood enforcement team, and then they'll be able to investigate that further. And also, it could actually affect the tenancy of the individuals within the estate. So any information you have got is going to be vital for us to then act on that, yeah? Your second question was in regards to Hounslow's Most Wanted. It was an excellent, initiative, but I think due to data protection and GDPR and things like that, they had to pull it off. That little area that you've just described next to the Tesco's, I think that it's up to the private businesses as well to put in CCTV and to also put in lighting, sufficient lighting to try and act as a deterrent. But that's something that we can take back when we're speaking with the businesses. Yeah.
Just to add on to that, the officer already said for fly tipping, there is an app called Fix My Street. If you download that app, you can report on that, and within 24 hours, that fly tip will be cleared.
Okay, in response to all of this, I would say we've got the same problem around the church with people urinating and defecating. We need a public toilet. And I know we sat here in the forum last time and we said the same issues. We need public toilets here, you know, because the treaty centre, you know, they're not open all the time. At the time of day that Daniel's talking about, when people are urinating on the street, we need public toilets available. And I know that's not an easy fix, but if we can have it in the minutes again, maybe if we put it on the minutes every month, every time, until we can get some public toilets in this town, please.
Thank you. We are noting that, and this will be in the minutes, and we'll see if we can expedite this, you know. Thank you. Thank you very much for all the... Now, we got a next agenda item, Thriving Community Fund presentation. Today we are going to receive an update on the Thriving Communities Fund from Halima Hussain. Thriving Communities Grant Manager at Hounslow Council, Halima will then, So Halima Hussain, please.
Hi everyone, good evening. My name's Halima Hussain. I work at Hounslow Borough Council. I'm one of the Thriving Communities grant managers. I'm going to take you through a quick presentation to talk about the Thriving Communities Fund. Can everyone see? Yeah? Oh, and it's at the top there in a lovely hue of grayscale. Thank you. Okay, so, flick the slides too. This is complicated. So what is the Thriving Communities Fund? So we are a rare sort of council in that we still give out grants to community groups, voluntary organisations. And I know, as someone who's worked in councils where grant funding has been removed and removed and removed until it was almost nothing, you are very lucky to have kind of the grants that we offer. Not to say that it makes life easy and it fixes all the problems, it doesn't. But we have 3 grants within the Thriving Communities Fund. A small grant, which is a small grant, it's about up to £1,000. A revenue grant, so this is a larger grant that can go to charities and community organisations for projects that kind of run over a year. And then we have the capital grant, which is a grant that essentially fixes buildings, so public buildings, community buildings. We build gardens and improve playgrounds. And then finally, we have a councillor-led grant scheme. So you have your councillors here, and they each have £1,000 to support community organisations. But very specifically, that money has got to be spent on physical equipment. So whether, again, that's improving a community garden, improving a community building, or buying some kind of equipment. Next slide. Can you do a slide? Amazing. Oh, so I talked through the small grant a little bit already. So it's up to £1,000. This grant is quite unique because we can offer this grant to a group of residents. You don't have to be a charity, you don't have to be a voluntary organisation. So 6 residents can apply to our small grant. I don't know, say on your street you want to run a street party, you can apply to us for money to do that. You want to run, I don't know, a little kind of lunch club. A group of residents can come together and apply to us for funding for that. We tend to focus on things like green and environmental projects, health and well-being projects, community engagement and interaction, and projects targeted on Hounslow housing estates. So some people talked about living on living in our housing estates. So projects that support those residents, we really, really welcome grants that look to do that. And we try and make decisions really quickly, so we tend to get back to you usually within less than 6 weeks, but at maximum we'll get back to you in 6 weeks and pay that grant to you so you can get that work started. Thank you. The next one is the revenue grants. This is up to £30,000. These are for much kind of longer term projects. They tend to run over a year. Things like maybe you're going to run a youth club, maybe it's kind of a regular kind of lunch club working with older people. And the projects that we tend to fund, they support the council's corporate strategy and they deliver things like environmental projects. They improve people's health and well-being by getting people out of their houses post-COVID, talking about health, and just kind of building those community networks. We also encourage applications that support the arts and culture. So I think some of you saw the dancers here at the start, you know, projects that support organisations like that to put on events, go out to schools and teach young people about the different cultures that we have in the borough. Very, very valuable projects. And then finally, and very relevant to the questions that you raised, projects around keeping young people safe, or maybe also encouraging them away from antisocial behaviour. So quite a lot of our projects are projects that support young people to find, what can I say, more engaging and positive activities. Because as you know, youth centres across the country have sort of closed and there's a real lack of activity for young people. So that's the revenue grant. And then finally we have the capital grant. So this is grants of up to £300,000 for organisations that want to improve a kind of a community building or a public space. So it could be playgrounds, it could be park spaces, it could be actual physical community buildings. Holy Trinity Church have recently been awarded a capital grant to improve their kitchens and run some of their fantastic projects. And the reason this is quite a large amount of money, you must be thinking, God, I don't pay council tax, so the church can have new kitchens, even though that's a great project. This money comes from when developers build new kind of developments, new properties, new shopping centres. The council take essentially a levy from those developers and use that money to deliver community projects. So that's where that money comes from. We are not taking that from your council tax, I swear. Next one. So applications are made via an online portal. So if you register at grants.hounslow.gov.uk, you can find our online portal and you can register. If that's a barrier for anyone, we're very happy to meet with people in person or on the phone and kind of talk them through how to apply. So if you're feeling like the computer is not your friend, you can apply in other ways. And then I'm just taking you through some of the grants that we've awarded in Central Hounslow. So we've awarded 2 quite large capital grants in Central Hounslow. So I've mentioned the Holy Trinity Church, and we gave £188,800 to improve the kitchen spaces, so 3 kitchens, to deliver to facilitate the homeless shelter, to deliver skills training. And of course that development doesn't just exist for a year, that, you know, it's 10 years, hopefully even longer. So, you know, it's really making a difference to the community. And then we also invested £30,000 in Thornbury Park, which is sort of like Isleworth, but I think actually in one of the wards in Hounslow, the Central Hounslow, because of the boundaries, yeah. So we've awarded some money to improve the paths in the park. Next slide, please. And then we've awarded 5 revenue grants that are located in Central Hounslow. So £16,000 to the Royal Association for Deaf People, providing social activities, £26,000 to SheWise to run a women's wellbeing hub, £29,000 to Mine to run a carers project, £26,000 to Cultivate London, who are looking at supporting green hubs on housing estates. And then finally, we also supported Holy Trinity Church to run their Olive Branch Recovery Centre, which is linked to the homeless project. Yeah. And this is about creative arts workshops for older people, people who are at risk, or people who are survivors of domestic abuse, and also experiencing homelessness. Thank you. And then we've got revenue grants that operate borough-wide. So, of course, a lot of our charities and organisations don't just work in Central Hounslow, don't just work in Brentford or Feltham. They work across the borough. So I just thought this was useful to see investment that's borough-wide that also should benefit residents in Central Hounslow. So things like the Young Rangers projects that's going to be run in various parks across Hounslow. Spurgeons, who are working with young men at risk, there's this word missing, young men at risk of essentially becoming, being put in prison because they are doing some really horrendous kind of violent activities. So this project is trying to work with those young people before they become part of the criminal justice system and kind of get them back, kind of get their lives back on track. Changing Suits, who are here and going to talk to you later on, who are working on supporting well-being in the South Asian community. And then Transgenerational Change, who are working directly with 6 schools in Hounslow with families who are experiencing, whose children have SEND, so special needs issues, or have children's plans, so they're at risk of potentially going into care. So that's working with families to keep those families kind of resilient, improve their access to, say, benefits and other support that they can access. And then I've got quite a long list of small grants that were awarded in Hounslow. So I'll pick out a few. We've got SFIDA, who are running a Resilient Rhythms project. So that's an arts and culture project. We've got Friends of Spring Grove School, who ran a project with us. It was only £285. So sometimes the grants can be really tiny amounts of money, and they have massive impact. Next slide. A couple of other grants, let me think. We have the Ghanaian Community Forum, who ran a theatre trip in partnership with West Thames College, taking young people to the theatre for the first time, letting them experience kind of, what arts and culture has to offer. Christmas lunch and Diwali events for Heath Court residents. And then Cultivate London ran a community food festival. Again, that took place in Central Hounslow at Salopian Gardens. Okay, so I'm now going to introduce people to talk about the work that they do, organisations to talk about the work that they do. They are way more exciting than I am. So we're first going to introduce Holy Trinity Church. So Reverend Sally Bailey, who is the vicar of Holy Trinity, and I shall hand over the mic. You can also sit down.
No, I'd rather stand, actually. Thank you. Well, good evening, everybody. It's wonderful to welcome you here. It's always lovely when I get the reaction. I've lived in Hounslow all my life, and this is the first time I've come into the building. And people are always astonished by how beautiful it is inside and how vast it is. This is a community building. It is used for community events like this and lots of other things. And so we have a vision to be a home for all nations where God's love changes everything. And it's not about the building, it's about the transformation of lives of people who come here for various activities. We really want to bring about transformation and well-being in the lives of those experiencing homelessness, addiction, or mental health issues, and we do that through our Olive Branch Crisis Drop-In. We're also running a night shelter here, 7 nights a week for 4 months. It started last Sunday. And we're running that on behalf of the council, so that's something we do in partnership with the local council. We also help alleviate food poverty through community kitchen food distribution that happens 3 times a week from the back of the building. And a lot of work with refugees, helping integration, helping people who are recovering from trauma in their lives and feeling really isolated, perhaps living in hotels with no option to work and not getting the food that they're used to eating. And so the capital grant that we've had and the revenue grant that we've had are really helping to meet the needs of all those people that we're serving through the various projects. So that's who we are. Underneath here, we've got the same footprint of building. So you see this up here, well, underneath is where the kitchen is, kind of underneath that bit over there is the kitchen. There's a room at the back there where the two AA classes meet, one in Polish, one in English. We've got a community space which is kind of underneath, but over that bit, and that's where the men will be sleeping, and at that end of the building as well underneath. So it's a huge building, and we are so thankful that we got a grant to do our new kitchen. So this was the plan. We thought long and hard about what does this kitchen need to do, and we're often serving multiple groups at the same time. So on a Friday evening, we've got the night shelter cooking going on, but we've also got a Farsi fellowship here. And we've now got around 90 Iranian refugees who come here every Friday to meet, to have fellowship, to be able to talk with people in their own language, have a meal together. It's the only time they get some really good food, Persian food. They're great cooks. And so we needed the kitchen to be able to handle multiple groups using it at the same time. So we've got 2 massive cookers that are amazing. We've got lots of benches, we've got fridge, freezers, we've got lockable cupboards, so every community group can have their own space with their own storage, their own ingredients there. So we really thought hard about that. I think there was a show reel running out there of all the pictures of all the stages we've been through, from ripping out the old kitchen, lots of work digging the floor up to put the drains in, and there was so much work. And this should have been an 8-week project. And unfortunately, it took a little longer than we thought to get the money through. I know it's a lot of money. They had to think really hard about it. And so we only had 5 weeks to do this project before the night shelter opened. And our builder, our electricians, they were working like 7 days a week to get it all in. And I'm really pleased to say that everything went in, and the kitchen looked like this on the 1st of December when we opened the night shelter. And it's absolutely amazing. The cookers, all the space we have, the fridge freezers, the massive dishwasher, and the recycling food waste, which helps with our environmental impact as well. So that's absolutely amazing. And the first meal that was served in conjunction with Al Mustafa Trust was for the night shelter. So if you look at that screen over there, it's probably a bit better. That's in our community space downstairs. We've got these amazing hot trolleys. If you had food today, you were served from one of the hot trolleys that was provided by this grant, again, so that we can make sure that we get the food hygiene right, that the food's at the right temperature, and that it's stored properly from the kitchen to being served. So there we have one of the spaces that we're using for the night shelter, and we're just so grateful that this was done in time and is providing a wonderful facility. We're also going to be running cooking classes, food hygiene awareness, and now we've got it, we can think, right, how can we really make this work for the community? Not just with the events that happen here, but enabling other people who would really benefit from using the kitchen. And the Ukrainian Social Club actually meet with us on a Wednesday night as well, so again, it's going to be useful for them. The revenue grant that we got was for an art project, and we have 3 different workshops going on each day. On Tuesday, we're working with people who are recovering from addiction and mental health issues. On Wednesday, we have a workshop which is mostly for the elderly, those who feel isolated. And Wednesday is focused on the trauma relief from domestic violence, because in Wednesday morning we host the one-stop shop, which is the council's service for those suffering from domestic violence. And so people come in and they get used to the building, and we can then recruit them and say, well, look, would you just like to sit around with some ladies and make some lovely poppies? This display here was made out of the first workshops that we did. They sat and made all these little things, crocheting or cutting out. And just whilst that's happening, conversation can happen. And as conversations happen, people can talk about what they've suffered. They can know that it's a safe space, and they find healing in doing something. And at the end of it, we get some beautiful art. So we've also got a project going on now for Christmas. These lovely Christmas stockings are being filled in. And if you want to know how you can help, we have asking people to sponsor the goodies that could go in these stockings that could then go to children who are in our local hotels as refugees and other children's projects. So if you go to our website, to our giving page, there's a fund there for the Gift of Hope for Christmas, which will help fund toys and chocolates to go in these beautiful stockings that are all being decorated as part of the art project. Also, if you want to volunteer, the Olive Branch, our crisis drop-in, operates 3 days a week. We have lots of people who come and help with cooking breakfast or serving food. The night shelter, as I say, 4 months, 7 nights a week, different people coming in and cooking and helping serve food, get alongside the volunteers and have a chat with them. It's amazing what you learn about people when you sit down and have a meal with them. And you can always refer someone. You know, if you come across someone who's feeling really lonely and isolated, send them down to us, because there's so much going on, whether it's just a cafe on Monday, an art workshop, or coming along to, a gospel concert on Friday night. If you're around, 7 o'clock, come on down. You know, there's always things that can help lift people and try and break that circle of isolation and depression. So I'm going to stop there. I've probably gone over time, but I hope that gives you a flavour. I'm happy to take any questions, if anybody's got any questions. Is that okay? Okay for time?
No questions. I just wanted to say, Sally, thank you very much for that presentation. As lead member of the Thriving Communities Fund, we are so proud of all the community work which is being done here at the church and in Hounslow for all of our community groups. And that's why we're really happy and proud to support you guys and to give as much as we possibly can through our funding. And I'm really happy and proud to say that this year we have actually in grant funding given over £508,000 to our community groups everywhere. So well proud of you. Keep up the good work, and we will keep trying our best to support you guys.
Thank you, Halima. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just going to introduce the next speaker. Is that okay?
Is it? All right,
Yep.
okay.
So now I'd like to introduce Bal Kaur, Strategic Director of Changing Suits, another organisation that we have partnered with.
Thank you very much. Like Halima said, my name's Bal. I'm from an organisation called Changing Suits. We are a community organisation, and we've been around for about 3 years. We've been operating in a slightly different area. I actually live just outside Hounslow, so the work that we've done previously was actually in the southwest. Now, the reason I mentioned that is because when we started off with the Changing Suits podcast, so if you listen to podcasts, please listen in. But essentially, myself and my sister are the co-founders of this organisation. And the reason we started off with the podcast was basically to have those conversations we've been having between ourselves, but out in public. Because what we are finding is that there are real cultural barriers as to why we are perhaps not going to the services that are provided. And also, it is not only for within the South Asian community, but also for services to listen in as well, just to understand what is going on and why perhaps they're not getting the engagement that they think they will. Now, I'll give you an example. We cover a lot of topics. We've got things like, you've mentioned it before, domestic abuse, something that we are well aware happens within our community, but we don't tend to talk about it because we keep a lot of these conversations within the community because we're always worried about what will the community say. From that, we grew to start working with services, with events, raising awareness about what those services do as well. So there's two aspects of our work. We've got the wellbeing workshops, which we're starting off here in Hounslow because they went down really well. And it was said in the previous conversation, look, if we do these things, we're together as a community, what are the conversations that will come out of it? And that's basically where we're going with it. So about 3 weeks ago, we started a running group. I'm part of that. I enjoy running, well, sort of enjoy it. But we've got a group of about 9 people just within 3 weeks where they've been like, we wanted to get active, and it's great. It's parents, we talk about the same sort of things. But the running is the side aspect. Yes, it is helping our well-being, but it gives us that chance to talk. Other things that we've been doing, we've been running sessions within Heston Community Centre with 65+, looking at mental health and things that you can do to sort of support your mental health. So we've got two aspects. Now, right now, it's about building that trust within the community, saying, look, have those conversations which you probably might not have had otherwise, but also working with services and the counsellors as well to say, well, if there are barriers culturally, people aren't coming for that support, we need to be looking at from the grassroots, what is it that the community's after? And I'll give you an example with that. Diabetes, your doctor might say within the South Asian community, diabetes has high prevalence. But when you go to a nutritionalist, they might be talking about foods that we don't tend to eat in the community. And that's an issue itself. So we need to be having services that are catered to our needs, because otherwise it's a waste of money. You've spoken about funding so many times. We know that it's hard getting funding in the first place. But surely that funding that's being spent can we do it in a way that will actually have an impact on us as a community rather than just throwing the money and it doesn't work? You know, I had a conversation earlier with a council officer, and sometimes it's a case of the same things happening over and over again, and we're finding that inequalities tends to be in those areas where there are most diverse communities, even though so much money is going into those areas. So what is the issue? And from our point of view, it's the fact that we need relationships. And that's why, you know, the presentation before, how can we build those relationships? And I'd love to work in partnership with all of the community groups. I spoke to a few of the people outside as well. How can we work together? Because essentially we're after the same thing. It's about understanding culture, each other's culture as well. You know, we're living in the UK, we're in Hounslow, for God's sake. I mean, if we're not going to be making a difference and making sure that we treat each other with respect, then that is an issue. So from our point of view, the funding that has been given, thank you very much for the funding, and it's really, we've already started off. We started it off even before we got the funding this week. And that's because we're so passionate about having those conversations with the community. So we are going to be working throughout the borough. Like I said, Osley Park, if you're around on Fridays, come along. We don't push anyone to run, but also we can do walking groups as well. What is it that you want part of the community? We do touch on a number of issues from the cultural aspect. So hopefully from the councillor's point of view, we can have those discussions as well as to what we're hearing from the people that we're talking to, whether it is health related. We're doing a number of projects on breast cancer awareness, cervical cancer awareness, again, things that are affecting the South Asian community because we're not getting early diagnosis, because we don't go to, you know, our screening appointments. So it's things like that. We're trying to make it earlier diagnosis, earlier intervention, so it costs the council less, but also we're creating a community. So that's us, Changing Suits. If anyone wants to know any more information, we've got a number of sessions running, like I said, throughout the whole week, and we've got the funding for a year. So if you've got any ideas, that's fantastic. We're more than happy to listen to it and see if we can help there as well. Hope that helps. Yep, thank you.
And finally, I'd like to welcome Farah Khan, Manager of the UK Projects from Al Mustafa Welfare Trust.
Hello, hiya. Good evening, honorable local authorities, distinguished guests, all the councillors, and ladies and gentlemen. My name is Farah Khan. I'm working as a UK project manager at Al Mustafa Welfare Trust. It is an honor and privilege to be standing here before you and representing not only Al Mustafa Welfare Trust, but also the plights of those in need. For those who are hearing our name for the first time, I'll give you a brief introduction. As an organization, our journey began in 1983 in Pakistan, where a small group of people who shared the same vision came together to serve the community for the better. Although we started modestly, but the need to serve was clear, and the passion to serve inspired us to grow and progress further. Therefore, by 2007, our success enabled us to register our charity here in the UK. Since then, we have worked relentlessly and addressed critical issues on our neighborhoods and beyond. Although Al Mustafa Welfare Trust has made an immeasurable impact on countless lives, I would like to share a glimpse into this through this short video clip.
For years, Al Mustafa Welfare Trust has been a beacon of hope across the world. But in following the light of our tradition, we also believe that neighbours come first. Here in the UK, our prison rehabilitation programme focuses on skill development and psychological support, paving the way for holistic reintegration. Our Rising Star initiative empowers the youth with invaluable life skills and employment training. Amidst these efforts, we continue to combat the growing issue of homelessness, affecting over 200,000 lives.
My name is Patrick Radoslav Malinowski. 2 years ago I've got some small accident in some building site. I've been in the hospital and I lose my home, my credit, and my wife, they're gonna go outside. I start to drink alcohol. No, I don't like it, that life here, but it's so quite difficult, you know, if you have nothing.
In collaboration with local organisations, we distribute essential survival kits and hot meals.
Thank you, Zahir. Thank you for Al Mustafa for that food, yeah? Look at that. If nobody gonna give you help like at Al Mustafa, you have nothing.
As the holiday season approaches, our festive distribution programme brings solace to the isolated. Your contribution transcends mere charity. It drives transformative change. Choose to be a neighbour first and enhance our collective impact. Al Mustafa Welfare Trust, where compassion meets action and everyone is a neighbour first.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So, our dedication to improving the lives of those most in need in our communities made the plight of the South Asian women apparent to us. The present pressing need for the improvement and prioritization of the mental, physical, and social well-being of the South Asian women within the community enabled us to set a clear goal to empower and uplift. Fortunately, we are one of those charities which has been received TCF's grant to achieve our vision. With this generous grant, we have been able to offer yoga sessions that focus on enhancing mental health, fostering social connections, and overall on promoting well-being. The grant has been a crucial step in helping us to make a lasting difference in the lives of those who need it most. So I would like to give a first-hand glimpse into the positive impact of the yoga sessions on the lives of the participants.
Thank you very much to Al Mustafa for sponsoring the yoga class. Ever since I've started the yoga, it's really improved my circulation, my limbs, my movement. It's actually really improved it. And the ladies over here, they really enjoyed the yoga over here.
मैं शुक्रगुजार हाँ मुस्तफ़ा वेलफेयर सेंटर की जिन्होंने योगा क्लास फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट अरेंज की है। मैं उम्मीद करती हूँ कि आइंदा भी इसी तरह साढ़े नाल अल मुस्तफ़ा वेलफेयर सेंटर वाले कोऑपरेट करेंगे।
हमें अल मुस्तफ़ा से बहुत बड़ी सपोर्ट मिलती है। हमारा ये बेस्ट टाइम है इस जगह पे आके जो कुछ हम अचीव करते हैं, एक दूसरे का गम खुशी हम शेयर करते हैं।
Thank you for sharing. We are honored to be an active part of this community. Our services are easily accessible as we are based on Hounslow High Street. We appreciate the dedication of our volunteers and their representatives who engages with local community centers, and they are here at the Holy Trinity Church in Hounslow as well. So additionally, we offer the convenience of online access, ensuring that we are here to support everyone wherever they may be. Despite our successes, we know that there still remains much more to be done. Every day, there are new faces in need of our services, new challenges to address, and new opportunities to make a difference. It is only possible through the collective efforts of such dedicational organizations that we are able to serve the community in such a meaningful way. I would like to take the opportunity to thank the local authorities, the council, and the Holy Trinity Church for their support and collaboration. To conclude, I would like to express my deepest thanks for TCF's support, whose partnership is crucial to our success and growth, and together we can build a future where no one is left behind. Thank you all. Thank you.
Is there time for any questions, or shall we move on? Yeah, does anyone have any questions? Brilliant. If there's anything you want to talk about, I can share my email address with you, and we can, yeah. If anyone has any questions about how to apply for funding or any of our projects. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Halima Hussain. Thank you for nice presentation. And thank you for all of our presenters this evening, Reverend Sally Belly, Bal Kaur, Farah Khan, for your informative presentation and insight of your organization, what you are doing in the UK, and especially in Hounslow. Please remember that this meeting is recorded, and the recording will be available within few days' time. I would like to thank you, all the councillors here, for their contribution in this meeting. Thank you very much. The next agenda item is any urgent business. We don't have any. Therefore, the next meeting will be on 24th of March, 2025. This is our last meeting of this year. So, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all. And please fill out the evaluation form, which is next to you, and put it in the box, or give it to the officers here. Thank you very much. Thank you. Meeting is now closed.